Well, Vivian, we got ourselves another Troma film to cover this week. Well, unfortunately, with it being Thanksgiving week, I'm a little bit too busy cooking the food to be consuming it myself. But also, I have a really funny idea with like a big bucket of KFC chicken, and our local KFC is destroyed. So, listen, Vivian, I'm really, really sorry, but you know, maybe one day we can come back to it, you know, when I have the time and the resources to be able to make actual little videos and skit homages to some of these films that I actually really like a lot, but maybe I don't have the time and the resources to do a skit for at the beginning of the review. The reviews, like, for the channel. The YouTube channel. Are you serious right now? Would you're in like every single video. Yes, that's what. Oh my god, what do you think I've been doing?
It's a Friday once again.
Hello, my fellow freaks, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you have all had a great week and also a happy holiday. Happy late Thanksgiving to those of you who celebrate it and those of you who do not. I hope your Thursday was nice and peaceful and that maybe you still ate some sort of good food even if you don't celebrate. This week we are looking at another Troma feature, and while it's not exactly like a Thanksgiving horror movie, it does show up on a whole lot of lists for Thanksgiving horror movies. And that film is Poultrygeist, Night of the Living Chicken. Oh, fuck. And that film is Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead from 2006 and directed by Lloyd Kaufman. By the way, shout out to one of my new viewers, Ain't Doing It Right, who informed me that often in Troma releases, Kaufman is often a role himself within his films. Like, I learned that he was, what's her name? Ellie Mae from Redneck Zombies. And in this film, he also has a very cool role, or like a very good, I like his character in this. He plays the older or mature Arby. So I just want to point that out, and also shout out to that new viewer who informed me of that and also some more information about Troma itself. I really appreciate it. And listen, I know that there are plenty of like weird off the wall kind of Thanksgiving horror movies that I could have chosen. One of them I did watch and review back when I had my little written blog, and that was Thanksgiving. That was fine. It was, you know, a B movie that was a cheesy comedy of the mid-2000s. Probably not too much unlike what we're reviewing this week. But I chose this mostly because it is a Troma release, and also it is a title that I have heard more and more people mention over the last few years, and I just really want an excuse to finally check it out. So Redneck Zombies already made me want to watch way more from the Tromaverse, I suppose you could call it. But after watching Poultrygeist, I am reminded of my very lowbrow white trash roots. After this film, I feel like Troma is part of my soul. I don't want to give too much away. This is still just the introduction, so maybe we should just go ahead and get right on into the review so I can describe this wild ass film that I had to watch this week. But first, if you are new here, hi, my name is STARGUTZZZ. Any kind of like crashing or running or loud noises that you might hear happening in the background, those are my cats. Come on, enter the screen. I know you're gonna get in the way. There you go. Also, my movie reviews tend to be more of a discussion of elements that I find to be good or bad about a piece, rather than just giving you like this play-by-play of every single thing that happens in it. So in other words, I try to refrain from spoilers as much as possible, but they will arise as they pertain to whatever discussion I'd like to have with the piece. If you would like to watch Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead before or after this review, you can do so on our best friend Tubi TV. I am not sponsored by them, but one day, you know, Tubi, if you ever want to like reach out, I used to be a salesperson for commission, so I'll do a good job. But also let me give you maybe a little bit of a content warning before you go into this, because I understand that people are different out there, and I'm going to say a lot of positive things about this film, but I want to make it clear for anybody who might be sensitive towards this. It is from the mid 2000s. It was made 20 years ago. There is a lot of old mid 2000s. Right. There is a lot of mid 2000s racist humor. Expect some level of offensiveness when you watch this. The only reason I want to give that content warning is because it is really funny and campy and comedic, but it does have moments like that where I can see somebody getting offended. I think maybe a good rule of thumb might be is if you are offended by South Park, perhaps, then you're probably going to be offended by the things that are in this film. And the reason why I specifically think of South Park to relate this to is because, now take this with a grain of salt, because I don't have exactly a reliable source for this. I got this from the trivia page of IMDb. But apparently Matt Stone and Trey Parker, who for some reason I just want to call Matt and Trey Parker as if they're a married couple. Apparently Matt and Trey were originally going to be in this film as Arby's parents. I think that's why I have it in my head of relating the offensiveness level of Poultrygeist to something like South Park. And there are some points to that I have that I will also discuss later on. But with that content warning, I will leave the link to Poultrygeist, Poultrygeist Night of the Chicken Dead. For some reason I keep wanting to call it Night of the Living Chicken. Anyway, I will leave that link in the description, so it is that much easier for you to go out and watch this before or after this review. And with all of those pleasantries out of the way, let us get started talking about whatever the fuck I just witnessed. After his girlfriend goes to college and becomes a lesbian, our hero Arby gets a job at a new fast food chicken chain her and her new girlfriend are protesting. And why is this chicken fast food chain being protested, you might ask? Well, it's not only for the company's own cruelty towards chickens, but because the new restaurant has been built upon ancient Native American burial grounds. As the day of the restaurant's grand opening progresses, the disrupted spirits of the graveyard begin to possess the fast food and create an army of giant zombified chicken-human hybrids. It's now in the hands of Arby to defeat the zombie chicken uprising and hopefully regain the love and respect of his beloved Wendy. The narrative is a little bit all over the place, but this is like the general gist of what happens. There are quite a few side quests throughout, but this is the general idea. Kind of imagine like the basis of Poultrygeist, where the home is built upon moved ancient burial grounds, but also combining it with a lot of the Night of the Living Dead aesthetics, but all with like this layover of working within the fast food industry. And as goofy or ridiculous as any of the synopses for this film can possibly be, I promise you it's not going to be close to the ridiculousness that you witness the first time you watch this. The first time I watched this, this might be one of the most unpredictable films I've ever seen. I felt like I was constantly being sucker punched with the next outrageous thing, trying to outdo the outrageous thing that literally just happened 5 seconds prior. And it's that over and over and over. It's constantly like outdoing itself with how outrageous and off the wall it can get. Now consider that this is only my second Troma film that I've ever watched. So maybe this is like on par with what you would normally see in any Troma picture. So take that into consideration. Maybe for those of you that are very familiar with Troma, the absurdity of Poultrygeist is nothing new. But to me, who is still new to this genre or this studio, the first time I watched it, I feel like my only reaction over and over was just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I feel like that was all I could say. I think I already mentioned there's a lot that I have to talk about with this. There's a lot that I want to mention that I really liked and appreciated, and we're going to get into that, but let me first share with you another piece of trivia about this film. I don't know. When it happens, I have to point it out. Ron Jeremy cameos. There's a Ron Jeremy cameo.
Save yourselves! Save yourselves!
I'll have the sloppy Jose value meal, and please substitute the cola with a clockwork orange. Thank you.
Just like in Death Factory, do you remember? Why? Is Ron Jeremy still alive? I'm gonna be so mad if he's dead by now. Oh my god, Ron Jeremy's still alive. There's still hope for me to make a movie in the future and get him to cameo in it. Oh my god. Oh. There's something about a lawsuit from April of this year. Anyway, I'm moving on. Hey, so let's talk about Poultrygeist, right? If I could find one word, one adjective to label this film as, one word that I would use to define Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. Dumb, asinine, absurd, idiotic, absolutely slobbering with over-the-top stupidity. Just dumb. It is one of the, dumbest pieces of media I've ever consumed, but I don't mean that in a bad way. In fact, I think it's a huge positive that it has. Oh, and also maybe I should have also put this as a content warning, whatever. Expect poop. Expect poop. There's so much poop. I mean, I expect literally any and all bodily fluids, but definitely poop. And with that poop, you know, there is a lot of toilet humor, a lot of immature kind of childish humor scattered throughout. And as ridiculous as that gross childish nature of it can be, there are also moments of comedy in it, or moments of just brilliant stupidity that are much more simple than toilet humor or poop jokes. In fact, I would go to say that a large chunk of the humor within Poultrygeist isn't so much in a visual gag or, poop, but rather it's through a lot of the dialogue exchanges between characters. At least that's the way I saw it. A lot of the comedy and humor of this, I feel, happens most when the characters are interacting with one another. And we get some fantastic dialogue exchanges throughout the entire thing.
I know, Arby. We was on the debating team in high school together.
That's right! You see, I was anti-bestiality and he was pro.
And look at you two now.
I don't even know if I could think of a piece of dialogue that is subpar or bad. Technically, it's bad. Technically speaking, it's bad. But it's so incredible at the same time. It's like every single character is written to the extent of stupidity or ridiculousness that best suits them. And I feel okay, these are not only my favorite characters, but the best example of a character being so perfectly stupid in this film are the characters, our main characters, Arby and Wendy. Don't even get me started about how fucking much I love Arby and Wendy. Holy shit. These two are they're made for each other. They're so perfectly dumb and adorable together. It warms my heart. I love Arby and Wendy.
Arby, look. Beer!
Wendy, you fucking drunk.
They are just simply and purely dumb. Now, Wendy is smarter by maybe a single IQ point, maybe 2 IQ points, just because of 1 or 2 things that happen in it where she does show more smarts than Arby. But she's not smart by that much. In fact, you know what? Wendy's my favorite. Wendy is maybe my #1 favorite character. I love how stupid she is.
I'm sorry, Arby, but how can I ever love someone who wants me to eat cock?
I think so many of my favorite lines and scenes are stemmed from Wendy. I think the actress for her is absolutely fantastic. Not only is she hilarious and really good at like visual humor and just being very silly dopey, but she's also a good singer. Put a pin in that. Every time I watch this, there are moments where, oh my god. So Wendy has this thing that it happens a few times in the film, and just anytime it happens, it tickles me so hard. She just goes, "What happened?"
What happened? What happened?
I don't know why her going like, "What happened?" I don't know why that tickles me so bad, but every time I watch this, just her and how dumb she is. God bless her. Bless her sweet little heart. I love Wendy so much. But I mean, I love Arby too. Arby has some fantastic moments. He's probably overall like the best written character, especially when it comes to the dialogue that he's given.
Yeah, right. That's good. Evil spirits. I believe in the supernatural when I see it, talking sandwich. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to serve the priests a penis-free sloppy Jose.
You really are stupid.
Both of them. I love them individually and I love them together just so much. They are fantastic protagonists for this film. Although it's not just our protagonist. Like I said, every character is written to like their full capacity of silliness or stupidity. It's just like a perfect degree. I find this film, the way it's written, just perfectly dumb. And honestly, to be able to write this perfectly dumb, you have to know how to write. You have to be smart to some degree to know how to be stupid. Does that make sense? I feel like even Charlie Day has talked about this before. Or somebody has, or maybe somebody applied it to Charlie Day. I don't know. But it's true. Like, you have to have a degree of smarts to be able to write so stupid. But as I was saying, it's not just like the main characters or characters with speaking lines, but even background characters, like the entirety of Tromaville, which, by the way, I just love the concept of there being a Tromaville. The entirety of Tromaville just seems so delightfully dumb. Just so delightfully dumb. And I think the scene that best captures this, it's up there for like one of my top favorite scenes in this film. And I'm not even gonna describe it. I'm just gonna play it.
Never, ever leave your register. Who knows what that mob of customers could be doing right now?
You see, it's so simple and goofy and not like absurd at all, but like it's so simply and purely dumb. It just tickles me so bad. And yet, despite how dumb and absolutely absurd that Poultrygeist can get, it still manages to like provide some moments of genuine commentary and criticism of exactly what it's parodying throughout the film, which I believe is big mega corporations and also the fast food industry as a whole.
So, my friends, don't fight temptation. Give yourself to taste sensation. Our extreme chicken supreme is made with 3 different kinds of cheeses. American chicken bunker, we're more popular than Jesus.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
And this is another reason why I might liken it to something such as South Park. Another piece of media that came into my mind while I was watching this and writing the review for it was Idiocracy. If you haven't seen Idiocracy, please go out and watch Idiocracy. But I would liken a lot of the stuff that's happening within Poultrygeist to something such as South Park or Idiocracy. And that's because it is very outrageous, it is very immature and childish, it can be incredibly offensive to quite a few people, and yet despite all of that, it also takes the time to give a massive middle finger to the core of whatever they are parroting or making fun of or criticizing within their episode or film. And in the case of Poultrygeist, some of the stuff that it makes real genuine commentary on are things such as how fast food corporations are sourcing their meat and the carelessness they have for their customers, also in regards to how they source their meat, which is a little bit timely with some of the Campbell stuff that has come out, and also like how the fast food industry targets lower class citizens or poverty stricken citizens and basically not only manipulates them but exploits them. And then that's not even getting into some of the commentary that they make about Native American land being stolen. So like, yeah, Poultrygeist is so dumb. It's very dumb and immature and offensive, and yet at the same time, in the middle of all of this childish, outrageous humor, you're also kind of being hit with an educational message, and that's almost more shocking than all of the insane sex and violence that we see throughout the film. And speaking about the shocking sex and violence that is within Poultrygeist, how about we go over those practical effects and just how wonderfully and again, delightfully disgusting everything in this film is. I didn't mention the poop already, right? Like, I didn't forget to mention the poop. There's poop, lots of poop. And I want to begin this section by stating how all of the gore that is present within Poultrygeist, all of the absurd amounts of blood and some of the death sequences that we see take place in this is exactly what I keep expecting to see from disturbing cinema and continue to get disappointed. Does that make sense? Like, this is the levels of violence that I'm expecting whenever we're covering something on the disturbing movie iceberg, and that's mostly because that's how people make the shit sound, and it's like not. The deaths in this film are so insanely bloody and gory and obscenely violent. And it does gore just so much better than let's say most of the films that I watched during the summer of disturbing cinema. I mean, once these zombified chickens start to come alive, it is carnage. It is absolute whiplash-inducing carnage. Super jail levels of carnage taking place. And as I have probably already said, watching this for the first time, even if you kind of look into it and read some synopses about it, it is going to be so incredibly unpredictable on your first watch. And I'm honestly just more impressed by how creatively Kaufman is able to make some of the most downright nasty and dirty and filthy scenes imaginable. I'm impressed. I'm impressed with how creative he is with it. And that's coming from a massive John Waters fan. I mean, Poultrygeist kind of finds a way to put every imaginable disgusting thing that you can think of within an hour and 40 minutes. And, you know, there's the poop. Another aspect of it that's really gross is just like the squelchy masturbation scenes. In fact, there are so many bodily fluids and just weird shit happening in this that it would be easier for me to give you a list of things that you don't see in it, which is piss and period blood. That's like the only kinds of liquids that you don't see is piss and period blood, and honestly I'm really surprised about that. And I will mention one character does mention being on their period. You know what, that's my main criticism. This is my main criticism of Poultrygeist. How dare you have a character who's on her period, and then yet there is no scene of her like projectile squirting her period blood onto another person. Highly disappointed. That is my biggest criticism of this film. And I do think a reason why these really disgusting, gross, and also gory scenes are so effective in getting a reaction from the audience is because of the incredible practical effects. The practical effects don't miss. They are so good in this. Anything from like the wounds or any kind of puppetry, the gore and the acid itself, it just, every bit of practical effect in this is so well done. And everything is just like so grody and dirty and filthy too. Like it, oh my god, it is such a nasty, nasty film. I love how nasty it is. Some of my absolute favorite moments of the use of the practical effects, I don't think I would even be able to show you on YouTube without my channel being affected by it sometime in the future. But a lot of the deaths in Poultrygeist are incredibly brutal and just disturbing. I think a few of them are disturbing. And it's effectively more disturbing than a large chunk of the films that I had to watch this summer. Like, I would call this more disturbing than Guinea Pig. I would probably call, oh, it's definitely more disturbing than Mei-chan. And it's disturbing while also still being very entertaining to watch. And I think that entertaining factor is because of the dumb, asinine comedy. I feel like such a freak saying all of this, but then again, I guess that's what this channel is. But I feel like moments such as like the chopping off of limbs, pulling somebody's head off of their body from the neck while they're still alive, ripping off a woman's breasts and eating them, insane amounts of violence that are not only pulled off more effectively than a lot of the stuff that I saw this summer, but are just more grotesque and hard to look at than a lot of the stuff I saw this summer too. Overall, Troma, I think, has just been everything I expected disturbing cinema to be. And although I can't show anything, I do want to describe one of my favorite moments, which is after somebody gets their head torn off. Their skull is then cracked at the forehead and their brains are shaken out onto a griddle, and a zombie chicken is making scrambled eggs with a person's brain, and we get to see them crack open the skull and shake it. I don't know why. That's one of my absolute favorite moments, but it is. However, there is one part that I can show, so be prepared for that because I am going to show it. One of the things that gets me the most in anything that I'm sensitive to is fingernails. I am very, very sensitive to like fingernails being pulled off or torn off, or fingernails just falling off. Not even toenails, also just nails. I'm very, very sensitive to that. And guess what Poultrygeist does? There is a scene when somebody, their fingernails are like falling off, and not only are they like barely oh god, it like makes me gag to even think about it. Not only are they like barely hanging on by a thread, like right at the root, but it's like the nail is flopping around, and the person who it's happening to, they're also like, it's like he's playing with his nails as they're about, oh my god. It got me so bad. I hate fingernails. But yeah, overall, I have to give this film huge props for their practical effects and everything, because this is just disgusting. This is one of the most filthy, grody, shitty, nasty films that I've ever seen. And even though I was like kind of sick to my stomach, I loved every second of it. Norman, please! While Poultrygeist is labeled as a horror movie, and it does have some over-the-top kills with copious amounts of gore and acid, it is a comedy at its core, and not just a comedy at its core, but the entire first half of the film is completely different than the second half of the film. The first half of the film is it's like a comedy musical. This film is partially a musical. Take that pin out of when I said that the actress for Wendy is a good singer, because Poultrygeist Night of the Chicken Dead is fucking partially a musical. What the fuck did I choose to like watch this week? What? The first half, and like I think it does a great job of balancing these two tones, these two like, it's almost like they're two completely different movies, but because the transition is so well done and you don't hardly even notice it happening, it's not, how do I describe this? So like the first half of the film is much more bright. It is way more comedy driven, and like I said, the beginning has way more of the toilet humor than it does towards the second half of it. And the first half is a musical.
Yo, Biznatch, please. Revenge is a dish best served fried.
I didn't know that going into this, obviously. And it did add to the fact that this felt extremely unpredictable at every turn. So the first song, I thought it was just like a weird joke, right? But then a second song happened, and a third, and a fourth. And I realized this is legitimately this isn't a joke, this is a musical. And you know what? I'm gonna die on this hill that the songs within Poultrygeist, they're low-key kind of a bop. I'm sorry, they're kind of really good. Slow Fast Food Love has been stuck in my head all week. It's been stuck in my head all week.
You are my fries and your shake makes me shiver. You're a happy meal sent from above. Can this drive-through called life deliver a heavenly slow fast food love?
It is the first song I think about when I wake up, and it is the last song that is in my head when I go to bed. I love Slow Fast Food Love. It is the best song in the movie. And this shit, partially being a fucking musical, I feel like it just adds even more to the absurdity of what the fuck this movie is. Like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean that there is gross, immature, silly, poopy joke humor, right? With several like mid-2000s racist caricatures and jokes thrown in there. And then some of the most outrageous, asinine scenes and characters you will ever come across. The whole thing is just covered in blood and acid and puke and shit, but it is also a musical with songs that usually have some sort of genuine, serious message behind them.
Fast food is being advertised on children's TV station and being sold in elementary schools to kids across the nation.
What the fuck is this movie? What the
The white man has destroyed our race. Spit in Mother Nature's face. Flightless bird you love to eat. Consume you now. The new white meat.
What the fuck is Troma? See, this is like exactly what I'm so like stunlocked. I'm starting to become at a loss for words the further I talk about this film. And as I said, it seems to transition from comedy musical to horror musical, like almost effortlessly. Like you hardly even notice the transition happen, but if you pay really close attention, you see it happen. Now, from what I observed, I think the like transition into more parodying Night of the Living Dead happens around the 1 hour mark, perhaps even like the 1 hour and 5 minute mark. And you can tell that this is happening because not only is the film footage starting to become more distorted the way old film footage might be, sort of like the original Night of the Living Dead might have, but the color palette completely changes. The tone of the film sort of shifts. Everything becomes darker and dingier and grodier, and you completely don't see a single surface that is clean anymore. And there's a lot of like zombie chicken eggs and overgrowth suddenly all over the place. Everything is like dingy and green and nasty. And added onto that is like a video grain on the footage, and also video distortion, like little black spots that show up in the film. I feel like those are added to, again, portray the same sort of tone as Night of the Living Dead. And I personally found like this shift so cool. I thought it was so cool to do like this literal shift from musical comedy, like bright, lighthearted, however you want to take that, comedy, into like a parody of horror and establishing more horror themes, not only in what's happening, but in your set design and like in the video effect. I don't know. I just thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool to do that literal transition into the more horror centric or the more horror driven part of the film. And that's just something small that I wanted to like hook on there, because whenever something like that happens, it's obviously on purpose, and I want to show like my appreciation. I think that's neat. I liked it. Overall, I just hope that you please do not judge me too harshly for the opinion that I have of Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead, because I do understand that it has quite a few offensive things going on in it. So, or I don't know. I can't control you, so. But look, when I first watched this, my entire impression was like disgust, and I felt sick, and I was just like, what the fuck did I even choose to watch? But after it all, I think I have ended up really loving this movie, despite its like flaws and gross out humor. Like, despite all the poop, I hate the poop so much, but despite all of the things that maybe I don't like about it, I just really can't help but actually love this movie. I love Poultrygeist, and I think all it's done is just solidify the fact that I think I'm going to be absolutely obsessed with Troma releases. It is absurd and outrageous, so much so that the first time you watch this, it's completely unpredictable. You have no idea what's going to be happening at every turn. And the comedy ranges from toilet humor to simple, goofy little gags to sometimes some mild racism. But a lot of the content here is really, I think, worth checking out. There are a lot of ways that I also just find it really campy. And the content here honestly disturbed and discomforted me way more than I would say the majority of the films that I had to watch for the summer of disturbing cinema. So hats off to you, Kaufman. You have been everything that I thought disturbing cinema would be. And I think overall, Troma is just everything that I have been searching for my whole life in all of cinema. Now, do I feel like an immature, lowbrow, bad taste, white trash, middle school boy? 100%. I feel so bad about my feelings. I feel so bad about loving this movie as much as I do. But Mama didn't raise a liar. I can't come on here and pretend like I don't fuck with this hard. I think I am home. And that home is Tromaville. This is where I belong. I've found my home. It's definitely not going to be for everybody, especially, like I said, if very crazy offensive stuff does offend you. Like I said, I think South Park levels of offensive would be an accurate description for the offensive levels of Poultrygeist. So if you can't watch South Park, you probably can't watch this. I mean, obviously, this movie is in a bunch of people's mouths for a reason, and I think for a good reason. The practical effects, especially, I'm in love with the practical effects. I'm in love with Arby and Wendy. Like, do you understand that I want to force my husband to do a couple's costume of us being Wendy and Arby? That's how much I love these characters. So I don't think my tier or what score I'm going to be giving Poultrygeist Night of the Chicken Dead, I don't think it's going to be any surprise what it's going to be put at. So what tier will I be putting Poultrygeist at? Dude, it's an easy A tier. Easy A tier. Like, I'm sorry. My bad taste is really showing in this video. I love how perfectly absurd and dumb this is. And like I said, you have to know what you're doing and be somewhat smart to be able to perfectly write this dumb. You have to be some degree of smart to be able to perfectly portray slobbering stupidity. And it's, oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's so incredible. It's so absurd. I love it so much. I love how stupid this whole thing is. And I can't help it. I love this movie. What do you want me to say? I'm not only a fan of Poultrygeist, but I think I am very clearly a fan of the Troma genre. I'm only 2 movies in, but I can tell this is going to be my home. And if I am a trashy, lowbrow, bad taste person for that, it's nothing that I haven't known about myself already, I guess. So, also I want to note that if I hardly make any more Troma related videos after this, it's not because I'm abandoning Troma, but it's because after doing this review, I have decided officially that summer 2026 is going to be a summer in Tromaville. If you don't see me reviewing a whole bunch of Troma between now and June, that is why. It's because June and July I plan to cover Troma only films, because that's how much I've discovered that I love this. I want to spend the summer, and you know, Tromaville's given me some summer vibes, so why the hell not? Now I will say I might actually get to 2 of them before the summer. I would really like to try and just go ahead and watch Toxic Avenger and Class of Nukem High before the summer starts. So expect those as videos probably at the very least. But other than that, I'm going to be saving a whole bunch of Troma films for a summer in Tromaville. And also, if you are a frequent viewer of the Troma genre, if you have some suggestions what I should check out for the summer of Tromaville, please put it in the comments down below. I will add it to a list and I will select 8 films over those 2 months to cover. Yeah, let me know, what are some of your favorite Troma films? Like what are some Troma, there's one that I know of for sure that I will be covering for the summer, which is Tromeo and Juliet. But other than that, I don't know. So you guys give me some ideas. I would love to hear what Troma films I should cover for the summer. And with that, we are done with yet another movie review. Thank you so much if you've stayed around all the way until the very end. If you like this video, please make sure you stab that like button. It is a free and easy way to help support this channel, and I appreciate it so much. I know I just asked for Troma recommendations, but any other recommendations are of course always welcome. Just put them down in the comments below and maybe you will see it turn up in a future video. Also, if you just like this video so much that you want to hear me ramble about more B movies, bad movies, horror movies, disturbing cinema, Troma films, anything. The main focus is horror. I do like to try and keep it within the realm of horror. Please consider hitting that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I make a new upload. Now, at the time of recording this, I already know this video is probably going to be a little bit late, but typically uploads are every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on the screen are also some of my socials as well. Now, where this is coming out late, I've probably already streamed and finished I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, but if you are interested in that, I'll also try to provide a card as well if you are interested in my little live playthrough of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. You can do so on the live channel. And now just one final thank you. Hello fellow freaks. I know this is the part of the video where I usually say just about like the same kind of, you know, speech of gratitude at the end of every video, but I want to interject and give a different kind of, I guess, more holiday focused thank you to those of you out there. And I just want to express how thankful I am for all of you who support this channel, all of you who have subscribed and liked videos, who watch every video, who comment on every video. Thank you so much. I think it's so incredible that I have found people out here who actually like the stuff that I want to like make. So a year ago, I didn't think I would be like almost to 500 subscribers like within a little over a year. So I don't know. I'm very thankful for everyone who supports this channel and who tunes in like every week. I feel very grateful for you guys, and it definitely makes it easier to make the videos, especially during like stressful times, because it just, I don't know, it makes it feel more worth it than if I was solely doing it for myself. So I just wanted to come on and just say I'm very thankful for my audience and just all you little freaks out there, and Thank you so much for being here. If I do not see you in a live stream or any kind of post, then I will see you in the next video. But until then, please have a great night and stay safe out there.
Could be nostalgia for all that is lost. Could it be that our love is star-crossed? Whoa, I sure miss getting my salad tossed.